Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Way of Life podcast. I'm your host, Gus Holland. Today, I really wanted to talk about um, overcomplicating things. I've, I've done it a lot myself, but people in general, I think, tend to overcomplicate things, especially with fitness. For the most part, like so I know I like scroll through TikTok basically to procrastinate and waste time a lot of the time, but I'll go through and a lot of my curated feed or for you page is fitness related. And so a bunch of that is I've just noticed like so many of those videos are contradictory or kind of just people talking out of their ass, um, and just basically overcomplicating it for other people. I feel like a lot of that, like gym intimidation or gym intimidation that people have, is from other people, just like not even directly intimidating them, but complicating things or making you feel like you need to know all of the lingo and maybe have somebody with you because you don't know the exercises or whatever it may be. But I feel like that's the primary reason so many people don't exercise daily. And I mean, you don't have to go to the gym. I mean, that's just, I mean, even in regards to cardio, which you can do at home or in your neighborhood, um, people are like afraid to do that. And sometimes they're like, well, how do I stretch properly? Um, are you supposed to stretch before or after? Um, what kind of cardio, because then you start diving into high intensity interval training and all kinds of stuff, and then on top of that, weight training and like how to combine the two. Like, should I do split it up, like one day weights, one day cardio, next day weights, next day cardio? Should you do cardio and weights both days? And it's really just stupid, really. Um, in my honest opinion, the only time you need to like worry about those little details is when um it's when you're competing or you have like a big goal in mind, or some sort of some sort of competition, like whether it's bodybuilding or a physical competition, a sport that you play. I mean, all of those details are very important and you should learn along the way, but it shouldn't prevent you from starting. If you're going to the gym, you're already doing more than, I'm just throwing a number out there, but probably more than 70% of the population already. So, the main thing is to just start it, really. What a lot of the fitness community doesn't actually like wrap their head around is that not everyone, I would say most everyone that is interested in fitness isn't going to, create their whole self image and self worth around fitness. Um, Most people kind of just have a minor goal set in their mind that they want to accomplish, or they want to just live a healthier life and not be so fucking serious about it. And just to touch base on a couple of those things real quick, those questions that I was using as examples, because it's going to bother me if I don't address them. But me personally, I like if I'm going to go running or really almost any type of cardio, I'm trying to do like a dynamic stretch beforehand. So you can just, I mean, you can Google that, but it's basically, um, for example, like you're going to be running. Like if you're running, your legs are moving at a fast pace back and forth. So there's, excuse me, there's pendulum swings where you just swing your leg either from side to side across your body or front and back, and you're just like gradually stretching that leg, but it's like an active stretch. Um, you don't want to do really anything that's like bouncing. Like you don't want to bend down and touch your toes and be bouncing there. Really, um, I don't really consider that dynamic stretching, and it's kind of just pulling on your back at that point. But anyways, what I was getting at is just to start. I mean, if you're not exercising at all and you're not monitoring your food at all, um, changing two or three meals out of the week that would have been unhealthy to something that's healthy, is going to greatly improve your nutritional values. You know, if you're not exercising at all, walking around your neighborhood twice a week is going to you're going to see a big difference because you're not doing anything at all right now. And I know a lot of people work hard outside or even inside, like warehouse workers or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, that's my exercise." It doesn't really count as exercise. It, I mean, at least in my opinion, it does improve. Like if you're moving heavy boxes all day, it does improve some of your strength and all that, but a lot of it is just slowly kind of wearing away at your body, you know. For example, man, I keep saying that shit. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get better with saying for example all the time. I don't know, but anyways, I know a lot of people that do have jobs that have repetitive um, movements, you know, and they think because they are doing a lot every day, but it's overall almost just taking a negative toll on their body. So even if you start doing preventative exercises, you know, you can even look up physical therapy exercises or occupational therapy exercises and do some of those to like maybe strengthen your shoulders or to prevent um, certain types of knee injuries or you know whatever. But any little bit that you're not doing now is going to help you. Um, the other thing I wanted to bring up is I've been reading a lot of this book called Rules for a Night by Ethan Hawke, and it's Hawke. Um, it's a book. I mean, it's got kind of a medieval theme, obviously, but it's kind of it's a great book on perspective, basically, and how to be. I mean, it would work well for women too. I know knights are men, but for the most part, but for example, damn, there I go again with that. For example, sorry, but um, there's a chapter about halfway through the book, and it's just patience. You know, it's titled Patience, and it's only like 2 or 3 pages, and that kind of helps me a lot because of I guess attention span or like gives you a sense of accomplishment, I guess, because you're kind of blasting through these short chapters, kind of keeps you rolling. But I'm going to just read this first little chunk from Patience. And it's something that I've needed to work on, I guess. I'm patient with people, but I'm not patient with myself. So, anytime I've started a business, or I've tried to go to college, or started a new job, tried to learn a new skill, learn a new language, I've never had patience for myself. And so this really hit me pretty hard because, I don't know, I give a lot of leeway for people in general, but not for myself. It's hard to explain, and when you try and explain it, you sound like you're talking down to the people you're trying to explain it to. But can't really think of anything off the top of my head. But the only way I could explain it is somebody'd say, "Oh well, you're not." Oh well, I'll stop doing this thing because you just voiced that you don't like it. And I'll be like, no, I'm fine if you do it, but I'm not okay with myself doing it. And so then it seems like you're think of yourself in higher regard to those people, but that's not true. It's just I'm being too hard on myself. Or maybe it's the right amount of hardness, and I need to be harder on other people. I have no idea, but overall, what I've gathered is that I don't have the patience for myself. Anyways, here's that little section of that book. Patience. There is no such thing as a once in a lifetime opportunity. A hurried mind is an addled mind. It cannot see clearly or hear precisely. It sees what it wants to see or hears what it is afraid to hear and misses much. A night makes time. Oh, my bad. A night makes time his ally. There is a moment for action, and with a clear mind, that moment is obvious. Yeah, so that's just one little paragraph, I guess. And then from there, it goes on. Yeah, it's 2 more pages, and it goes on to kind of give a obviously very short story in regards to what I just read is talking about. Kind of an example. Then the next chapter is justice, and it's an even shorter little excerpt. And it says, "There is only one thing for which a knight has no patience: injustice. Every true knight fights for human dignity at all times." So that's a whole different topic, but I just really love how this book is set up, and from there it has a little 2-page story to try to, I guess, give you an example and kind of give you time to think about what the book is actually trying to teach you or have you work on. But the patience one really hit me hard, so I'm going to try and have more patience for myself, more patience for this podcast, more patience for everything, really. The other book that I really like, and it's kind of along the same lines, is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. If I'm saying that correctly, it's SUN, and then the last name is TZU. It's a very old book. One of the oldest, and you can find that for free in all lots of places, or buy it for a couple bucks on Amazon. Um, I like to find really cheap versions of books, because then I don't really feel bad if I like highlight in them or write notes to the side or whatever. But it's primarily talking about different methods and tactics in war, but it has a lot of words of wisdom within it that can be applied to uh, life in all aspects, basically. Like whether you kind of read it with a business mindset or read it with maybe just in a motivational aspect. But that's a really good one to read and look into. But with all of that said, I am really going to work on that patience thing. I've got a pretty nice little calendar. It's kind of like a mix between a calendar and a journal. Um, that I'm going to really try to track a lot of my stuff in life with it, but I'm gonna try and not be so aggressive, with myself. Try and space some more stuff out and not necessarily, because I'll set goals and they're good goals and they're reasonable, but they are definitely above average. Um, and so I don't know, and it's okay to set goals that are high, but it's different when you set high goals in short amounts of time. Um, for example, like I'm not gonna get 100,000 downloads per episode in my first few episodes. You know what I mean? Like there's almost no. I mean, it is possible, but it's like so highly unlikely. And that's not an actual goal I set for myself. It'd be ridiculous, but that's an example of doing something too drastic, and then you end up just getting stressed out and beating yourself up over something that is similar to hitting the lottery, winning a jackpot. It's possible but unlikely. Um, so I'm gonna try and be kinder to myself by allowing myself to have patience with myself and my goals. But anyways, I really appreciate y'all listening to this. This has been another episode of the Way of Life podcast. You can email at wayoflifepodcast@gmail.com. You can follow the podcast Instagram at Way of Life Podcast. You can also follow my personal Instagram at Gus Holland, except it's spelled differently than my real name. It's GUSSHOLLAND. One day I will get the correct spelling, maybe. And other than that, once again, thank you so much for the support and everything. If you like what you've been hearing, I am going to be dropping my first interview episode next week, and it should be much longer than this one. And on top of that, if you would like to give a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, that would greatly help the visibility of the podcast. Anyways, I will talk to y'all later and love y'all. Bye.